What's going on, everybody? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. It's been a minute since we filmed a video here on the channel. I've been so busy this summer, which is personal things as well as real estate. So many people reaching out from these videos, from this channel, who are saying, hey, Cody, we need to find something we want to buy, we want to sell, we want to invest in real estate here in Utah. And I've been so busy helping those people. I'm super grateful for it. So thank you guys for having done so. I apologize that I've fallen behind a little bit on these videos. But today we're going to talk about what's happening in the market. We've now started going into the fall season. Even though it may not feel like it here in St. George, the weather and the temperature is starting to kind of drop off just a little bit. We're going to start seeing some cooler temperatures going into the next couple of weeks or months, and that's actually going to help the real estate market. I think actually as we see a shift from the hotter weather into the more temperate weather, I do actually think that we'll probably see the market pick up. Now, that being said, that's going to be just one factor that could cause the market to pick up, but there's also going to be some other factors that cause the market to drop or cause the market to kind of pull back and be a little bit more conservative. One thing to consider is that we do have the presidential election coming up. We're not going to talk about that here today, but it is something to consider whether you're looking for one or the other side to win in that presidential election from September, October, November until that happens. It's going to be a tumultuous time. People are going to sit on the sidelines and wait to see what happens with that. In my opinion, I don't think, regardless of who wins, it's actually going to make much of a difference. But I do think there's going to be a lot of people who end up sitting on the side. I also think that could affect interest rates. I do think it could affect a number of things out there in the market. So with that being said, there are going to be some things that kind of push the market up, and there's going to be some things that pull the market back down. So it's going to be a little bit of a give and take. Honestly, I think in my opinion, it's going to stay mostly flat, right? I think those things will kind of balance each other out. Let's take a look at the stats and see what's happening in the past now that we've talked a little bit about what I expect to see in the coming months. I'll add some additional context. As we do that, guys, we're going to jump in my screen here. Please reach out to me. Like I said, I've had so many people reach out over the last couple months, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys. Please call, text, or email me anytime. I've had hundreds of people reach out from videos just like this. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, we just crossed over 1,000 reach outs from these videos, which is pretty awesome to see. And honestly, a large portion, well over 100 of you have actually ended up moving here in the last couple of years from videos just like this and had the opportunity for us to work together. So with that being said, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Let's jump into my screen here and take a look at what we've got going on with interest rates as well as going on with house prices over the last couple months. So 30-year fixed rate mortgage, I've shown you this graph before. This should not be anything new if you've seen my previous videos in the past. Back here in October of last year, or let's even go back to September of this year, we saw rates at about 7.25%. We actually climbed up to almost 8%. Actually, we did hit about 8% here, according to the blue line that you can see right here. We did hit 8% here on October 18th, 2023. So almost a year ago, we were sitting at about 1.5% higher than where we are today. Right now today, we're sitting at about 6.38, down from a most recent high just a couple months ago in April at 7.5%. So interest rates are down about about 1 full percent over the last couple of months. And I think that's actually a really good sign. I actually think that the market is, interest rates are probably still a little bit high for the real estate market, but I think they're kind of in a spot where, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, people are just going to have to kind of get used to these slightly higher interest rates. If you go out there and you're shopping for a conventional loan, you're probably looking around 6% for a well-qualified buyer. FHA, you're going to be closer to about 5.625 or maybe 5.75%. And yes, those numbers are high, but I don't think we're going to get back down to 3 or even 4% mortgages anytime soon. I could see FHA going down to about 5%. I could see conventional being about 5.5%. And I would actually think that's going to be a very good range for interest rates to stay, in my opinion, right? If we go too low, it's just going to cause prices to go absolutely crazy. It's going to cause a ton of inflation in the real estate market, and that's not going to be good on that side, right? So it's kind of a give and take. Yes, things have gotten crazy expensive. Here in Utah, the cost of living has gone up substantially over the last couple of years. And yes, it's gotten more expensive to live here. But if we see interest rates go down, prices will go up. If interest rates stay where they're at, prices might stay a little bit more stable and flat. And I think ultimately that's the better of the two potential options that we have on the table at this time. So that being said, interest rates here about 6.38%. There is talk of the federal government dropping the borrow rate here in the next couple of weeks. And I think if that does end up happening, we could see interest rates fall on mortgages by about 1/4, maybe up to 0.5%, in line with what that potential drop could be. I don't expect that we'll see anything more than that, just because it'll be a little bit too uncertain, especially with those other factors that I already talked about. But I do expect that we could see some changes, especially if the Fed talks about dropping their interest rate. We could see mortgage rates follow with that, and we could see those rates drop about 0.5%. Maybe 1/4, maybe to 0.5%, which could be a good thing for buyers who are sitting on the sideline. I've had a lot of people who have already reached out saying, hey, I'm either waiting to buy something just to see what happens over the next couple months, or I'm ready to jump in now. I'm not going to wait because it's just a better decision for me and my family. And they go ahead and they go through that process. So, for you in your own individual situation, it really just depends on what situation you're in and what makes the most sense for you, right? I get a lot of people who ask me, hey, should I buy now? Should I buy later? Should I sell? Should I sell later? What should I do? And honestly, it just depends, right? There's a lot of factors. It really depends on what you're looking to do, what you want to achieve, and what's most important to you in your stage of life. So if you want some information, please reach out to me. I'd love to give you some non-biased information. I'll give you the good, the bad, the ugly about your situation and the market, and see what makes the most sense for you. My information is here on the screen again. Call, text, or email me anytime. And with that said, let's take a look at what's happened with home sales over the last couple months. So we're going to jump over here. We're actually going to look at 2 different data sets. Here in St. George, we've actually got 2 different MLS systems. Some of the data is going to overlap. Some of it is going to be kind of more of like a statewide MLS system. And then the other one is going to be Washington County specific. So I do like to look at both of them just because I do think they're both relative. I'm going to go ahead and increase the brightness there. Taking a look at this, this is going to be for Washington County. This is off of the UtahRealEstate.com website. So this one gets a little bit less traffic, but I still think it's relevant because agents who are out there listing homes should be listing your home on this MLS as well, which a lot of St. George, Washington County real estate agents, they don't have access to this. They don't even use it. They don't utilize it in any way. And unfortunately, I think that's kind of a disservice to those people who are looking to sell. Nevertheless, I digress. Let's talk about what happened in August of 2024, according to this data set. So we have seen home sales kind of fall off, which is not uncommon, right? Typically during the spring and summer months, we do see home sales start to increase as kids are getting out of school and more people are looking to move during the warmer months. We do see home sales kind of decrease, but you will typically see a little bit of a rebound going into the fall and then into the winter, right? So like even just looking back here, we're at 148 in July, August 154, September and October. We actually saw just a slight little increase right here at this time. August, we're actually down 143. Of course, there's some market factors that are coming into play here as well, but we are down on the number of home sales that have happened during this time. Now, the interesting thing to note is that there's actually a higher volume that's actually happening right now, right? So we've got, if you can see there here, that the volume is $95 million in home sales, as compared to last year, August 2023, we had 92 million, despite having, 11 more sales. So this means that there's higher priced homes actually selling out there in the market. There's a little bit more strength at that higher price point. Looking at this third and fourth column, you've got, let's go back down here. You've got your median original listing price. That's what this thing stands for. And then you've got your median sales price. So this is what the home was originally listed for. This is what the home actually sold for on a median basis. Now, again, this is across all home types, single family homes, condos, townhomes, and all price ranges. So this includes your starter homes. This includes your $5 million mansion. So it does include everything. You've got a $549,000 median list price with a sales price of $519,400. Look at the interesting thing here between these 2 months, right? In July, we had $550, so we're still at the same median original list price as what we saw in August. However, the median sales price actually dropped by $20,000, which was roughly 3% lower. You can see this 98%. That's basically just this number divided by the first one. We went from 98% to 95% on the sales to list price ratio. So that's a pretty substantial drop. I've noticed this in my business as well. We started to see buyers get a little bit more picky, a lot of buyers sitting on the sidelines, even though interest rates have kind of dropped during this time. Going back here to anybody who was looking in July, you were looking at, high 6% range. Now we're down to about mid 6% range. So even though interest rates have dropped a little bit, we are actually seeing the market soften just a little bit. I think that's an anticipation buyers who are deciding to sit on the sidelines. It's also because school is starting. It's also because of the presidential election. It's also because of the uncertainty that's just going on in the world and the economy. People are still worried about jobs and recession and all of these different things. We've talked about that here on the channel before. As long as the jobs data stays strong, right now we're seeing a little bit of a weakening, a little bit of a soft spot in that, and that's why the Fed is actually looking at dropping interest rates. But as long as jobs continue to remain strong, as long as unemployment remains very low, I don't think we'll see any drastic drops in the real estate housing market, right? So very interesting to see that this has actually dropped by about 3%. This is a good sign if you're a buyer, because now it means you can negotiate a little bit harder on a deal out there in the market. So if you're out there shopping for a home, if you see a home listed at $550,000, there's a good chance you might be able to negotiate $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 off of that list price. And get that home for a much lower price. So that's something you kind of need to know. You need to work with your agent, make sure you're familiar with what's happening in the market and what the comps look like, what other homes are selling for, all of that information. The other thing here is median days on market. I like to just look at this. We have seen days on market increase over the last couple of months. Again, this is kind of just your seasonal change. We do typically see it increase a little bit as we go through this time period. Actually, last year we actually saw a decrease. So we're at July, August, and September, we're at 40, 33, and then 26. This is actually kind of interesting to see, especially as interest rates were rising during this time, right? This is, if you remember, October 2023 is when we hit those 8% interest rates. So we were at like 7, then we climbed to 8 by October. So it is kind of interesting to see that, but this right here, days on market being around 40, not really a concern, right? It's pretty on par with what we've seen over the past year or so. Now let's take a look at this other website. This is our other MLS system that is going to be Washington County specific. This one's going to be a little bit more in depth. This one's going to have a lot more listings, a lot more information. It's just going to give us a broader pool of data to pull from. So like I said earlier, I do like to use both of these. I like to use both of them for different reasons. One, because it's very Washington County specific. And number two, the other one, the one that's more Utah or Northern Utah real estate focused, I like to use that one because it gives you a little bit of variety. And there's also going to be some cross information that can be helpful to pull from that. Now, the thing I want to take a look at here, market summary for August 2024. Taking a look at this, this is the number of listings. Look at the climb in listings that we've had here during this time. So active listings has climbed, pretty substantially since about January. In January, we were about 1,500. Right now, we're sitting at about almost 1,800 active listings. So the number of new listings, which is the green line here, has increased just slightly. I mean, we're down actually from July to August. And the number of sold listings has also decreased. So we're seeing more active listings. We're also seeing sold listings actually decrease during this time. Over here, you've got your active median list price at $599,000. Your new median list price is at $550,000, and your sold median list price, sales price, is at $470,000. So the sold median sales price has dropped off substantially, right? You can see here, July 24th, we're at $500,000. Now we're at $470,000. So $30,000 drop. That's much more substantial than what we saw on the other graph that we just looked at. So it's 20,000 versus 30,000 on this graph. And you can see that the actual median list price has climbed substantially during that time. So there's a little bit of a divergence right there, which is interesting to see. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, you can see the absorption rate has climbed during this time period, which is, a little bit interesting, but you do actually expect to see it drop going into the winter months. So seeing this little climb right here from 4 months to 4.36 months is not really surprising. The absorption rate is basically how long it would take for all of the homes that are actively listed on the market to sell, assuming there was no new listings coming onto the market. So it kind of shows you how quick the turnover is for those active listings. Here, we're going to see the same sold to list price ratio drop as we saw on the other data set. July 24th, we're at 96.5%. Here, August 24th, we're sitting at 95.4%. So we saw about it only looks, it looks pretty substantial, but it was about 1% drop in this data set that we're looking at here. Again, this is across all home prices, all home types as well. So if you're looking for information about your maybe on your home particularly, or a particular home or price range that you're looking in, reach out to me. I'd love to get you that information. I can kind of give you a more specialized, detailed report on something like that if you want. Just make sure to reach out to me. My information will be here on the screen or in the description box down below again. Let's take a look at this and we'll wrap this up. Days on market, we are sitting at roughly 64.5 days, and price volume, we haven't seen much change there over the last couple of months. Here's the information. You can kind of pause the video if you want. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please reach out if I can be of assistance in any way. Call, text, or email me anytime. I've had literally thousands of people now reach out to me over the last couple of years from videos just like this, and I cannot wait to hear from you as well. So thank you so much for watching. Hope to hear from you soon. Catch you in the next one.